Hello, my name is Atafa Amanzadeh. Me and my group mates in this presentation are going to present about the health of Iraq, a low-income country located in the southeast of Asia, specifically Middle East. As you can see in the picture, the countries that surrounded Iraq or are the neighbors of Iraq are included Iran, Turkey, Syria, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait. The population of Iraq is about 42 millions. And as I mentioned, Iraq is a low-income country, and about 25% of people are in poverty and have a problem with their health due to the war that has been happening in the last 4 decades. There are some examples of health indicators in order to let you be familiar with the health of Iraq. First of all is life expectancy, which the government estimated about 71 years in 2021. Second one is mortality rate, which is also estimated about 4.7 in 2021. Since children and women's health is important due to their high costs and consequences, you can see other examples of health indicators related to them, like child mortality, which is about 29.5 in 2019, and maternal mortality ratio, which is about 79 in 2017. The first three leading causes of death are included cardiovascular diseases, neoplasias, infectious and parasitic diseases.
I am Muhammad Ashraful Islam Bhuya, and I'm going to talk about the first public health issue of Iraq. The major public health issues of Iraq are poor sanitation and lack of access to clean drinking water, chronic malnutrition, and women's rights. So the first public health issue is poor sanitation and lack of access to clean drinking water. The risk factor associated with this are waterborne diseases, which are diarrhea, cholera, typhoid, etc. And other one is vector-borne diseases, which are malaria and dengue and many more. So the reasons behind this are low. Iraq is a low-income country, and so it has very low electrical generating capacity to treat sewage and drinking water. And they also said the second reason is they have lack of access to clean drinking water. They have only access to water from ponds and river, which are not clean. The third reason is the lack of access to toilets, and human waste is not disposed properly, and thus it spreads a lot of viruses and parasitic worms. And the last reason is very low knowledge about hygiene practices and sanitations and its consequences to health. The vulnerable groups are children under 5, as they have very weak immune system, and pregnant women because they face a lot of health pregnant related issues, and the elderly people.
Hi, my name is Fakchi Rachel, and I'm going to talk about interventions. So the first one and the second one is vaccine and educating the population. As they are two are the cost-effective one. From vaccine, as children are the more vulnerable group, from getting vaccinated, they will get prevented from waterborne and vector-borne diseases and prevent the oral-fecal transmission. And from educating, they can increase their literacy rates and have more hygiene practices and more access, such as toilets or maybe sinks.
Hi, I'm Kirat. I'll be talking about the action plan. Gavi was created in 2000 to provide free vaccinations to the children under 5 years of age and has estimated to end by 2023, and with the funding of $400 million. 8,000 workers are required to conduct surveys and provide education all over Iraq. Mass media can play a large factor in the promotion process. Some local agencies and the communities are also required to involve. The entire process will take up to 2030, and about $16 million is required for the process. A humanitarian response plan was established in 2021 to provide essential services for keeping a hygienic environment and making sure to provide essentials available for the population, and approximately $75 million is required to do so.
Hello, my name is Donald, and I'm going to talk about the second public health issue in Iraq, which is chronic malnutrition. It is the risk factor of child and infant mortality. When child and infant not receiving right amount of nutrient, they will be more prone to different disease and more likely to die. Second is stunting and wasting in children. Those children have poor physical growth and cognitive development, and it will affect their future productivity and the country profoundly. Third is obesity. People who has obesity are more likely to develop various non-communicable diseases. These diseases are relatively more difficult and expensive to address. It will strain the healthcare system. The first reason for that is the lack of breastfeeding. Breast milk is the best food for infants. Without it, children are more likely to develop malnutrition. Second is poverty. Poor people have less access to food, and this inferior status make them receive not enough amount of nutrient for their body. Third is increased consumption of processed food, and this increase the incidence of overweight and obesity and foster the development of non-communicable disease. The vulnerable group will be children under 5 and pregnant women, as nutrition is very important for them. Malnutrition among them cause health problem than others group.
So I'm going to talk about the intervention for undernutrition. So from increasing the diversity of diet is very important, as mentioned before. From pregnant women, if they have poor intake of some nutrients, they can cause permanent effects for their infants. And from school feeding programs, as the children are more likely to have wasting and stunting, so it can help be monitored. And from collaborations can help government to get funded by different companies to solve the problem of undernutrition. And for overnutrition, the three of them are all solving the problem of chronic cardiovascular diseases and type 2 diabetes.
The Ministry of Education of Iraq and the United Nations World Food Programme have joined efforts to widen access to school feeding for 3.6 million school children across the country. More than 2.5 lakh of the most vulnerable children have been provided with school meals and support in 11 districts. The Ministry of Health set up national nutrition policy to free the globe from malnutrition in 2012 to 2021. The strategy was to ensure that every child and woman attain optimal nutritional status. Methods such as designing food vouchers to improve the dietary diversity and to distribute these vouchers in the poor population of Iraq in the form of paper.
I'm Rihanna Khayat. I'm going to introduce public health issue 3, which is women's right. The risk factor for these public health issues is domestic abuse result in mental health issues, STDs, and high maternal mortality. The reason for these risk factors are low charge toward sexual assault, because in this country, men can get away with violence with just paying a little amount of money. Traditional culture, which is a misogynist mindset, and these people are because of the religious, economic, and political conflicts in this country. This is so wide, and also child marriage, which is because of the lack of education, which results in unemployment and being dependent to their husband, and they cannot pay for their healthcare. And even if they can, there is not enough healthcare specialists for women, which are like woman-sensitive issues and pregnant women. And also lack of nutrition, because women in this country prioritize their husband and children nutrition than themselves, and so they don't get a lot of enough nutrition. The vulnerable groups are women and partially children, because not unhealthy mother, unhealthy child.
So for the interventions for women's rights, providing education is very important, as the women have lower literacy rates than men. Besides, they are more prone to get STDs than men, and they usually don't seek for help if they're getting assaulted or raped. And then from providing access to a healthcare system is very important as well, as they have a low total status than men, so it is important to remain equal. And then spreading the importance of safe abortion is because it can prevent from dying from infection from having a skilled attendant, so therefore it's really important.
The UNFPA and UNICEF led an organization to ban female genital mutilation since 2008. 35.8 million people actively participated in the education and social mobilization sessions. This program is linked to the Sustainable Development Goals, which aims to end all harmful practices by 2030, including FGM. Government can also help spreading health awareness about women and making healthcare more accessible for them through different means. For example, organizing free camps for the general checkup of the female population. Thirdly, getting involved in programs that promote safer abortion procedures is quite important. FIGO is a program that helps in accessing safe abortion services for ensuring the human rights for every woman and reducing maternal mortality and morbidity from unsafe abortions. Thank you for listening to our presentation.